and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Slow Burn Pro Wrestling Podcast, where all professional wrestling storylines live. As always, I am your host, Matt Brandon, bringing you all professional wrestling's news, notes, innuendos, and whatever else you can come up with in this wonderful world we call professional wrestling. Happy freaking Thursday to everybody. Guys, we're almost there. All right, can you believe it? We have almost, I said on Monday it had been a long week, and then we made it to Thursday, so I'm calling it a win, and you take your wins where you can get them. Trust me on that. But happy to be here on a Thursday. Man, this week has been amazing, amazing wrestling week. I say that every week. I know, I get it. I'm not a WWE shill. I'm not an AEW shill. I'm not a TNA shill. I'm a pro wrestling shill. So there you go. But we do have a lot to talk about, a lot of important stuff to talk about. So I'm glad to be with you guys here on this Thursday. Starting things off today, here's how we're doing things today. Let me restructure here. All right, we're going to go over NXT, which was the NXT TNA Showdown. Wow, what a freaking show. And then I'm going to bleed you guys into AEW Dynamite, which also happened Tuesday night. Homecoming, live from Daly's Place in Jacksonville. We got a lot to talk about there. Another very, very solid show. And then I do want to preview TNA Impact from tonight. It's a pre-tape from Minneapolis, but we are the go-home show for Bound for Glory, which, as I've said before, TNA claims is their biggest show of the year. I have always thought Slammiversary was like the WrestleMania of TNA. I don't know. Maybe it's just because the cards have always been so good. But they are definitely pumping up this Bound for Glory as the biggest TNA Bound for Glory ever. So definitely want to talk a little bit about TNA Impact for tonight as they set the stage for Bound for Glory, which is on Sunday. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. So anyway, let's jump right into NXT. This was the NXT TNA Showdown. It happened Tuesday night. It was live from the PC. One thing I want to say before anything, that freaking crowd was hot. I mean, hot. They were loud. You know, it sucks when you watch the tape, because I have to watch it on a little bit of a tape delay here because CW doesn't show it until 8:00. So I'm on a delay with it, but the crowd was so loud and it almost sucked. Excuse me. At times they were so loud with the cussing that it was like we had very long time on TV without. Let me say something about that. All right. True wrestling fan. I get the holy shit chant, holy shit, holy shit. Like, I am fine with that. I get it. That's been part of wrestling for a very, very long time, especially hardcore wrestling. I'm good with it. We can do that. But man, when you're cussing people out and you're cussing people as nickname, I went, what do you think? If you combined all of the dead time, there was probably a minute of where there was no sound, just wrestling. And I'm sorry, but if you're not live, play-by-play is a huge part of viewing. So it sucks a little bit. And again, if I'm there, I'm probably jumping on the bandwagon too. I'm not going to say that I haven't done it in the past. Although I will say, have a little courtesy for those of us that are watching at home, right? For those of us that are on our television and everything is getting bleeped out or silenced out in this case. So, but the crowd, even though they gave us some little cussing pauses, I cannot take anything away from that crowd. They were absolutely on fire from beginning to end. They were loud. And I wanted to say, I've heard a couple different things about the Performance Center and attendance. The first time I had ever heard that said that 700 people could fit inside the Performance Center. That kind of seemed about right to me. And then I heard another thing, and all of this was in interviews. I heard before that there was about 500 people that could fill the Performance Center. And then the other day, I hear one more time that there can be 200. I think there's more than 200. There has to be more than 200 people there. And I know it's basically a warehouse and sound echoes, and that's one of the reasons it's so loud. But hell, man, I don't care if you're in a damn phone booth. Like, that shit is exploding. It is so loud on a night like that. And then NXT and TNA folks, they brought it for this show. I really, really enjoyed it. Matter of fact, we scored it a B+. And one of the reasons for the high score there was because of the crowd. The crowd was that good. So, man, allergies are killing me today. I just got, is what I got. So, deal with it, right? If you're going to talk wrestling, you got to be ready to deal with it. That's just how it goes. Opening match, man. I had a feeling this would be opening match. You know what? Hold on a damn second. I didn't even put it on my outline right here, my show track that I have laying in front of me. But I want to go ahead and say I usually don't do predictions on regular shows because you don't always know what's going to happen, what's going to go on. I try to save predictions for pay per views and PLEs. I did give predictions for TNA NXT Showdown, and I just want to say, as I Barry Horowitz myself, I didn't miss one of them. Completely right. So much so that I even got the women's not only right, but I got the order right. So, sometimes when you're good, you're good. Again, not just a hat rack, people. Not just a hat rack. All right. We started things off with the Hardys, or as they're known in the WWE universe, the Hardy Boys, even though they're both very, very old. Not missing a freaking beat. I say that with zero disrespect because the freaking Hardys are the best tag team going right now, period. But they're taking on Dark State, and it was a winner take all. NXT belts are on the line, TNA tag belts are on the line, and what do you know? Jeffrey and Matthew come through again. Jeff and Matt Hardy, the Hardys, are now the TNA and NXT Tag Team Champions. And guys, I can't even tell you how special that is. We're seeing something right now out of the Hardys that honestly, if you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have laughed in your face that something like this could be possible. But it's so good, man. They are giving back to this industry in such a huge way. It's so appreciated. And I'm not one to say that one brand is better than the other brand. I hate that the Hardys stuff didn't work out for them in AEW. It just wasn't meant to be. But man, oh man, since they have went back to under that TNA umbrella, they have grown and grown, and now we're seeing them once again in the WWE universe. Um, Unreal, tip of the hat, amazing. The Dudleys, by the way, my favorite tag team of all time, who I consider the greatest tag team of all time, they were in crowd. And I don't know if you noticed this, but Hardy's dressed in all white, which that normal babyface type style. Dudley's in the crowd all black, and they had the Dudley glasses on, so definitely giving off heel vibes there too. So loving where this is going. Guys, Bound for Glory is Sunday. We're getting the Dudleys versus the Hardys. One last table match. And now, because the Hardys have gone over here, they're now your NXT and TNA champions. Both freaking belts are on the line. Now I'm going to tell you, I don't see any way in the world that the Hardys lose this match, and I don't care in the least. But even though the Dudleys are my all-time favorite tag team, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't see them winning, and I'm okay with it because, the Hardys are doing such good work. Here's the only thing I ask. All right. The only thing I ask about is, can we get the Hardys in the WWE for just a little short run? And now I'm not saying NXT. I'm saying I want to see them on Raw. I want to see them on SmackDown. I want to see the Hardys face New Day. I want to see the Hardys face the Judgment Day. I want to see the Hardys face Fraxium. Like there's so much out there. Hell, the Wyatts. Why not? Right? Talk about the charismatic Enigma squaring off against the Wyatts. I mean, that shit writes itself. So I hope, and I know we're on our last hurrah of the Hardys. They're older. This is not going to be something that lasts. The longevity is not going to be there. But if we have a year left, if we have 2 years left, put them on the main roster for a small run. Even if they're still contracted to TNA, this partnership is working. Make it happen. Please make it happen. So it was great, man. The crowd was so into this, and I've said this before. If you don't know what the Hardy Pop is, shame on you. And if you don't believe in the Hardy Pop, you got something wrong with you, okay? They always used to talk about the Road Warrior Pop. The Road Warrior Pop was such a special thing. And if you guys are novices to the game, that when the crowd freaking erupts, that's the pop, right? I always say I pop out of my seat all the time for different things. Guy got eliminated on Survivor. Coach Brandon popped. The kids get an A on my test. I'm going to pop. It's just how it is. And I carry my wrestling terminology with me everywhere I go, to be honest with you. I do not hide shit. But I wanted to say the Hardy Pop may have overtaken the Road Warrior pop, and I say that in all sincerity. So I don't know. And what this really got me thinking about too wasn't just the idea of the pop and all of that. I started really thinking about the Mount Rushmore of tag teams, the all-time tag teams. And I know Busted Open, second best pro wrestling podcast in the world today, they talked a lot. Dave LaGreca and Tommy Dreamer talked a lot about the greatest tag teams of all time and how their list has changed. Dave LaGreca does his laminated lists. I do my Mount Rushmores. And I really liked where they went with that. And then it progressed into like brother tag teams. And man, you forget how many damn good brother tag teams there's been throughout all these years. Hell, there was a lot that didn't even get mentioned. And you're talking about two of the greatest wrestling minds that exist. The callers too were really breaking it in. I can't wait till the slow burn gets to that level, folks. I can't wait for it. So anyway, I thought that it really, really opened up the idea of where do the Hardys literally fall in all time. And I know it's all subjective, but in all time tag team lists, um, I still don't put them at number one, but I will say they may have advanced to number two. And prior to this, I had them at 3 or 4 in my list. So it really got me thinking. And if I had to break down tag team Mount Rushmore, they're definitely on it. So is their Bound for Glory opponent. So there you go. So it really made me start going. So I'm going to break this down on my 4 Mount Rushmore all-time tag teams. Man, I'm Dudley's. I'm Hardy's. I'm Road Warriors. And this is the one that a lot of people, it's an interesting thing. The first 3 are usually easy, and it's that fourth one that gets you. And the fourth one for me right now is Rock and Roll Express. They changed me when it comes to watching wrestling. I never was a heel guy, but there were certain baby faces that were just special. And I freaking loved Ricky Morton. Matter of fact, when I met Ricky Morton this past November, it was a highlight of my life, pretty special thing. So, and it was, it's just special for me. So anyway, I may revisit this again. I really might. So we'll talk about it. I know I need to keep moving here. All right. After the Hardys were so victorious in such an amazing match. By the way, Dion Lennox looked good. Dion Lennox looked good. Osiris Griffin was a little off. The timing was a little off. At one point, I even thought that Matt Hardy had set him up for a twist of fate. Osiris takes it wrong, and then Matt had to adjust to a DDT. Like, there was some wonkiness there that I haven't seen out of him before, but that's a pressure-filled moment when you're taking on the Hardys. So, but I thought Dion Lennox looked very, very good in this match. So that takes us to the next match: NXT Women versus the TNA Women in the traditional Survivor Series match. Even though it was 4-on-4. The NXT women go over. Had a feeling how this thing was gonna turn out. I even said it's going to come down to JC Jane and Sol Ruka versus Kalani. That's exactly what happened. Was very surprised though that Jada Parker was the first NXT girl to go out. Even more surprised at how it all went down. Mara Sade got a little more bonus points in this one than what I was expecting. So I don't know. The match was good. Wasn't bad. I loved Soul. She's starting to really figure out best freaking finisher in all of wrestling right now for women, without a doubt. Maybe completely the best finisher in all of wrestling. But you notice she gave the Soul Snatcher here not out of the corner like she usually does. She actually gave this off the middle part of the ropes. And guys, we're getting to where now we can hit that Soul Snatcher out of nowhere, i.e. like the friggin' RKO, So we'll see how this goes. I loved it. Eventually down the line, guys, we are getting set up for a Soul Ruka versus JC Jane title match. If JC's still that title, they're pushing Soul for that big belt. Right now, she's doing such a great job. North American champion, speed champion. And it looks like we've kind of figured out who her next opponent is going to be with Blake Monroe. Had that little interaction backstage. But all in all, I thought this was a very good match. And it went kind of how I thought. Again, but it's one of those situations where predictability is not a bad thing here, as long as it's entertaining. And I thought this match was very entertaining. To be honest with you, it was probably for me more entertaining than it was the men's match as a whole. Now the men's match had a moments in it that I thought stood out, but as a whole, as a match, I thought the women's match was better. But NXT goes over, and now we see what happens next. We're going to see a little more action moving forward as we get geared up for Halloween Havoc. So we'll kind of get some of these storylines shifted around and straightened out now that the Showdown is over. Had an awesome little backstage moment with Matt Cardona and Ava. Oh, who's happy to see Matt Cardona on freaking television? Not only that, if you don't know Matt Cardona, he's one of the funniest freaking humans ever, and that piece was awesome as he's trying to set up a match with Josh Briggs. Briggs is storming in. Cardona's hiding behind the freaking door. The match pretty much gets agreed on. As Ava closes the door, it reveals Cardona, and he's got this shit-eating grin on his face, like, perfect, perfect, perfect. Guys, Matt Cardona is one of the greatest freaking talents of all time. I love him, and I still woo, woo, woo. All right, my Zack Ryder glasses rocking right over there. Loving it, loving it, loving it. So we're going to get next week Cardona and Josh Briggs, and I think it's going to be awesome because Matt Cardona is going to wrestle on WWE television. So there you go. Ethan Page and Mustafa Ali. I will tell you right now, I put one note on this match, and it's damn in capitals. This match was outstanding. I mean, what do you expect out of freaking Mustafa Ali? I mean, Mustafa Ali right now, best work of his career, one of the best workers going right now. The things he does in the ring is special. The bump he took off that top rope, landing on the floor, landing partially on the floor, partially on the barricade, like, unbelievable. And again, I'm partial to Mustafa Ali because just literally one of the nicest humans I've ever met in an elevator. I say that all the time. But Ethan Page, man, he was great in this match too. I'm a huge Ethan Page fan. I know a lot of people will disagree with this, but I think Ethan Page ranks up there as one of the greatest North American champions ever. Now, I know that belt is not going to stay with him a whole lot longer. I just really don't think it is. But right now, what he's doing with this run is so good. And I believe this is the run that catapults him onto the main roster. I don't see how you can keep him away from it for too much longer. Honestly, it just makes freaking sense. But Ethan Page goes over here in what was easily match of the night. And there were good matches here, but this was easily match of the night. And definitely going to have a shot at match of the week on Sunday for the Slow Burn Week in Review Awards. All right. Lexus King had a decent little piece backstage. First off, big up to Lexus King on the anniversary of the death of his father, Flying Brian Pillman, the loose cannon. One of my all-time favorites. It's a shame he was taken from us so early because I do believe he would go down as one of the all-time greats. If you don't like the Hollywood Blondes, I got nothing for you. But Lexus had a lot on his mind this week, I know, with the other tragedy that happened in his life, and I'm not going to go into detail on that. If you'd like to look it up, look it up. But his little piece with Dr. El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., really, really damn good. Accusing him of being Tavion Heights because of the piece that from a week ago where Tavion was in the mask. It was Dr. Wagner Jr. Now we're getting Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Lexus King. I love that shit for next week. But then how it ends with Tavion Heights coming out. And he's like, how'd you do that so fast? Just good quality backstage work. And I know not many people are on the Lexus King bandwagon. I am, and I have been for a very long time. All right. I think that Lexus King is outstanding. I think that his work behind camera, not necessarily in ring, even. I'm just saying his promos, his comedy stuff, it right now, it's not touching anyone. Like he in NXT is doing better work on camera than just about anybody. And I know that's my opinion. I get it. But give props where they're deserved. And I think Lexus King is amazing right now. All right. That brings us to the main event, which was the big Showdown Survivor Series match between the TNA men and the NXT men. TNA goes over, guys, and we had two men left standing, Mike Santana and Moose. Those were the two right men left standing, and how this went down was wonderful. I told my wife yesterday, Trick Williams is going to chicken shit on this one because things aren't going to go his way. He is going to bail. I even said yesterday when I said TNA will win this match because Trick Williams is going to screw things up for NXT. Boom, Trick Williams walks off, leaves Ricky Saints to his own devices, where he gets his ass kicked by Mike Santana and Moose, with Mike Santana spinning the block and getting the 1, 2, 3. I love this match. I really did. I would have liked to have seen a little more Ricky Saints action. I know it kind of felt rushed at the end. I think we're running out of time, to be honest with you. But I enjoyed it. My favorite part of this match, though, was definitely anything Javon Evans did, because you guys know I hear the word Javon Evans and my ears freaking peak up. So amazing stuff there. TNA men, like I said, they go over. The match was excellent. Trick bailing was excellent. Javon Evans is going to be one of the greatest stars this industry has ever seen. I could say the same thing about Leon Slater. I just really enjoyed it. And what I think we're going to get out of this is a Mike Santana championship after Sunday. I really do believe that. And I'll do those predictions probably Sunday morning is my plan, because Sunday, obviously, we got Bound for Glory, but your boy will watch Bound for Glory a little late, because I'm going to go see the one-man show of Mick Foley here in St. Louis at the Helium Comedy Club. So be ready for that, right? I scored the show a B+. It was awesome. It was awesome. I need to rush here, guys, because we still have Dynamite to talk about. Dynamite, it was the homecoming. I hate the fact that they were on Tuesday night and I had to freaking split my time. But live from Daly's Place, that is the home base for AEW Dynamite. Take you back to the COVID time where everything was there. A weird crowd, but not really. And I've said this before from shows at Daly's Place. The crowd is just hard to hear. Like, it's muffled a little bit. So I think you get that impression that the crowd isn't quite as hot as they were, but I thought this crowd was pretty good. With that said, Collision on Saturday won't be probably as electric as this was, but the sound does get muffled at Daly's Place. It's because you're underneath that canopy and open air and everything. Like, I understand that, because it's basically an amphitheater, right? But well, it isn't basically an amphitheater. It's an amphitheater. What a dumbass am I? But the show itself was good. Opened up with an awesome face-by-face between Hangman Adam Page and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe healing shit up, coming out in a suit. Came out by himself. He told the ops to go back. And honestly, these guys put on a hell of a promo. I mean, I started this one because I think it's easily could be a promo of the week. Both of these guys shooting back at each other. But Samoa Joe laid it out. He's like, it wasn't the fact that, it was you. It's the fact that I think that you're a pretender. I don't think you're a true champion. Samoa Joe tells Hanger, I got lost in wanting to kill the Death Riders, basically. And it was just take out the Death Riders, get that belt off of them at any cost. And Samoa Joe was very clear. That to him made him lose himself. He forgot his sole purpose, which was that gold. And if you guys know anything about me, I'm Samoa Joe for life, baby. Matter of fact, I'm debating. I'm thinking AEW Wrestle Dream next week. Maybe Samoa Joe t-shirt. Not sure which shirt I'm going with yet. Which, by the way, your boy's got a surprise for you when it comes to AEW. Thanks to the Barn and the Barn Media Group and my main man, Chad Winch, your guy here at the Slow Burn is going to be making his way into the presser. That is right. I am media credentialed for AEW Wrestle Dream, and I am so damn excited. Chad, thank you so much. Thank the Barn. Guys, if you don't listen to the Barn Media Group down out of St. Francis County, you need to do so, because they're doing wonderful stuff and they got a little bit of something for everybody. And I'm serious. You want music, they got music. You want comedy, they got comedy. You want to talk about other stuff, they got other stuff. Hell, they even have a freaking a Bible study on Sundays. So check out the Barn Media Group. We'll be propping them all night at Wrestle Dream, I guarantee you. So moving on, decent video package between Tony and Chris Statlander, Tony Storm and Chris Statlander. Can't wait for that at Wrestle Dream. The card is starting to take shape now. We had before the street fight, John Moxley over Big Tomohiro Ishii. I don't know why. These two beat the absolute hell out of each other. I have seen them wrestle before. Every time I see it, I'm excited. No one hits harder than these two dudes in all of wrestling, with the exception of maybe Roderick Strong. I would watch it all day. I would. I knew going into this match that Big Tom wouldn't win in this, but I also knew that he was going to push Moxley to his limits because that's what he does every single time. So yeah, good match. Mox goes over. And again, I've said this before, the Death Riders are so much better right now than they were when Moxley was champion. I mean, I truly believe that. We had the Hurt Syndicate taking on the Demand. If you don't know who the Demand is, that's Ricochet and Gates of Agony, or GOA. They took on each other in a street fight. It was okay. I don't understand the concept of wearing the suits out there for a street fight. I know the Hurt Syndicate, like the suit game is your thing. Like, I understand that. It's always been an MVP thing. And Lashley was really pushing that stuff as well before he left WWE with the Hurt Business. But I'm going to be honest with you here. This match was not great. Hurt goes over. We hurt people. But the match to me was just, it was off. It seemed slow at times. And I'm going to tell you straight up, man, I needed more Ricochet in this match. I really did. There was not enough Ricochet. I felt that him and MVP were off camera way too much in this. So that was really my main problem here. But Hurt Syndicate goes over. I get a feeling this isn't over yet. Let's let him go one more time and then call it a day on it. How about that? Sounds good? Sounds good. Let's move on. Young Bucks knocking down Tony Storm's door, trying to get a money match, because we know last week that the Bucks lose all of the money of that $500K match at the casino. They need more money for a match, so they're getting one. It's going to be at Wrestle Dream. We'll talk about that moving forward. I believe it's going to be $500K again versus Jurassic Express, who, by the way, looked very, very good in their squash match after our little Bucks episode. By the way, Buck sitting in the top row was electric. The little kid in between them, like, that shit was funny. Young Bucks are amazing. You know, it just is what it is. They're becoming one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They already are one of the greatest tag teams of all time, but they're climbing up that list too. I'm not Mount Rushmore in them yet, but if you're doing the tag team brothers, maybe, right? Alpha, Sika, Usos, then go with them a little bit. Just saying. All right, there's more. I know there's more. I'm just stopping there. But the Jurassic Express had a darkness to him again, and I really, really like it. If you look, Jack Perry's character has not changed since he's came back. He is still that dark ass-kicking dude. And he's making Luchasaurus that as well. And this is going to work. They're over. We're still getting the jungle wave and all of that, and that's okay. But I don't want to see Jack Perry as Jungle Boy. I want to see Jack freaking Perry. That's what I want to see, because one of the best in the damn business. All right, keep moving here. For the TNT Championship, we had Kyle versus Kyle. Kyle Fletcher over Kyle O'Reilly. I want to tell you, this was a damn clinic in submission wrestling. And Kyle O'Reilly, I know I just said this recently last week, but Kyle O'Reilly is one of the most underappreciated professional wrestlers in the business. I know amongst professional wrestlers, he's very popular and very well respected, but I think we as fans need to start jumping on this Kyle O'Reilly train if you're not already. He's so damn good. He can wrestle any style, but that submission, that catch wrestling, that exchange wrestling that he does is it's damn good. So Fletcher goes over, but I'm going to tell you, I know they're not probably going to let these guys go one more time, but I would love to see it. I really would. Mercedes Moné over the debut of Lacey Lane. If you don't know who Lacey Lane is, formerly known as Caden Carter of the WWE, she looked badass, by the way. She looked badass. So I have a feeling we're going to get a little bit of a push from Lacey Lane moving forward, and I hope we do. Matter of fact, I want to see her wrestle Mercedes again, because that was such a fucking good match. Brodito, man, I hated this. They had this little contest. I have to speed up, guys. Brodito loses to Okada and Takeshita. So now at Wrestle Dream, Okada and Takeshita get a title match, a tag team title match. If they would have lost, Brodito would have won. Either Brody or Bandito would have gotten a championship match versus Okada for the unified belt. So, like the twist, the match was good. Bandito's banged up, but now I'm going to get to see Takeshita and Okada probably split up at Wrestle Dream in purpose, and I can't wait. All right. Decent backstage piece with Willow and Jet Speed along with FTR. And then that brought us to our main event, guys. Orange Cassidy goes over Pac. Another match of the week contender. Wow. Pac looked good too, by the way. Tonight, guys, I'm running out of time. Tonight on TNA, by the way, we scored Dynamite a B, and the only reason it was a B was probably because of that freaking spot with the Hurts. That was it. But tonight, TNA Impact go home show for Bound for Glory. We got Trick Williams to appear, Joe Hendry versus Eric Young in a no disqualification match, Matt Cardona versus Ryan Nemeth, Big Brother, Mustafa Ali versus Johnny Dango Curtis, JDC of the System, and Kalani and Indy have their contract signing. And guys, I will recap everything on Sunday. Be here on the Slow Burn.